Daimyo here, and this is my review for Candy Flurry manga chapter number 6. So if you remember in chapter 5, EDA said that she is forcing Tsumugi to join the Rosette and to take the entrance exam, which will be in a couple weeks. Well, it's been a couple weeks, and we see Tsumugi and Misaki outside of the training facility in Old Tokyo. They are greeted by EDA, and they all are saying, you make sure you've got all your testing supplies and all this and all that. And a very important thing is other people are seeing EDA and they're saying, is that the ice cream user? Why is she here? And they said, I heard she's one of the 5 Stella Entremont. So I guess this is the name of the group of the 5 sweet users, and she's one of them, so the 5 Stella Entremont. So I guess we have an official name for them now. So EDA says that she's going to observe the exam, and then we go into EDA just, I guess, walking away. Then next scene shows Tsumugi walking into the training area, but I guess it's just like, hey, welcome. It's the welcoming ceremony. And this guy sounds funny. It's this guy who has like shaggy black hair and is kind of like sweaty, and he looks kind of cool. I really like him. He looks really neat. And his name is Aminai. So he said he's going to be the proctor for today and judging all of them. And here's more of me thinking that this whole world is just run by kids that are trying to play like they're serious, because while he's got this microphone on a stand in front of him, he says, it's nice to meet you, and he goes to bow and hits his head on the microphone. So, and he's just sitting there rubbing his head. So Tsumugi hears the other people who are applying for the exam, and they're saying, really, this guy's in charge? Looking at my, this is going to be easy if this guy's the one in charge. And then, all of a sudden, this guy walks in. He's got blonde or white hair, and it's shaved on the side. He looks like a really cool, hip, young, awesome guy. Then he says, oh, excuse me, I overslept. He's just walking in late. And everyone's like, oh, isn't that the chief's son? Oh, why does he have to take the exam? Shouldn't they just let him in? And other people are like, oh, okay, I get it. That's why Aminai is overseeing this exam. He's going to be easy on the chief's son so that he can get in, without any troubles. And they're saying, oh, it's lucky for us, because then that means it'll be easier for all of us too. And then this chief's son comes and says, hey, sorry I overslept. I'll be joining the exam now. And Aminai's like, okay, you don't need to participate. Go home. And I'm like, oh, is he just going to be let in for no reason? He's like, well, don't you know who I am? I'm the chief's son. Apparently the chief's name is Takamori Umino. So I guess we can just call this guy Umino, because we don't know his first name. We just know Umino. He said, he's your boss. I'm his son. He's like, let me in. And Aminai's like, oh, cool. Send him your regards. Go home. He's like, are you serious? He's like, I'd like to take the exam. He's like, no, you can't. You can apologize. You think you can apologize and you'll be forgiven? You're not. Leave. Go home. Cry to your dad. I'm like, oh my gosh. So then everyone's like, great. So I guess these are a lot harder than we thought. And Aminai's like, sorry I had to do all that, but are you all awake now? Welcome to the Reset exam. So they're like, great, he's super crazy and strict. Now we get to find out what the first exam activity is. So what they're going to do is everyone's going to be put into pairs of 2, and they're going to be given training equipment, training exam cutlery, and it's going to be a hands-on training in Old Tokyo. So I guess the Tokyo that was destroyed by the lollipops, they're calling Old Tokyo, so that helps for explaining stuff too. And these pairs have to capture other pairs, and the last 20 pairs pass to the next exam. And then he also says this might play into the next couple chapters, but he said if two separate pairs capture like one person from one group and the other person from the other group, then the second person who gets captured, like the last person, that pair get the point. So it's weird. It's either capturing both or capture the second one of the pair to get the point. So they're like, okay, great. Like everyone, proceed this way to the next area. And as Tsumugi's walking down these stairs, she sees this Umino guy just sitting on the steps, just bawling his eyes out, just crying and crying. And Tsumugi's like, I better ignore this guy and don't focus on him, And then she gets a conscience and she's like, okay. And she turns around and says, crying's not going to help. If you really want to take the exam, maybe you should just go back and apologize. And she's like, okay, bye. And he holds on to her like shirt and says, please, will you come with me and beg with me and help me? And she's like, no way. Well, she's forced to, and he's basically just holding on to her shirt. And this is the funniest thing. This is really setting up a character for this Umino guy. But he says, she's like, why were you late in the first place? He says, I was actually here 3 hours early. I was so nervous I woke up early. And Tsumugi's like, well, then why were you late? And he said, I thought it'd look cooler if I came in late. So she's like, well, now I don't feel sorry for you at all. Get out of here. But then here comes Aminai. And he's like, you should be at the testing site and you should go home. And Umino's like, please, I'm so sorry. Just crying. That's all this dude's doing is just crying. Please let me go home. Please let me take the test, please. And he's like, no. And the other people, the other Rusette agents with Aminai are like, hey, maybe you should. And so he's like, okay, sure, fine. He said, you can join, but you'll have a penalty. And your partner will have a penalty too. And before they even say anything, Tsumugi's like, huh, it's not me. Well, nope. They've been paired up, of course. So we've got Tsumugi and Umino as a pair. And they're in like training Rusette uniforms. They look really cool. And we see that their penalty is, it's been announced to all the other pairs. It said the team to capture the Umino Minase pair will not be required to take the next test. So that's where the chapter ends. I'm really excited for this next chapter because we'll get to see a lot more action, and we've been introduced to two different people, this Aminai and this Umino. And this Aminai is just, some head guy. He might be like a teacher figure. But this Umino looks like he's going to be a member of maybe the group with, EDA and Tsumugi and all them. So, Misaki. So, with this Umino, it seems like his characteristic is, he tries to act really cool, and he's just a little crybaby. Which, isn't this just how this whole world is? I absolutely love it. But, that was my review for Candy Flurry manga chapter number 6. Let me know what you think about this chapter or anything else about Candy Flurry. You enjoying it or not? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to hear more from me, please consider following me on Twitter. Links are in my description down below. I follow everyone back. But thank you very much for watching. Have a fantastic day.